What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of the Universim. So we're coming straight into the clone tower to deal some damage with the genes. Obviously, unlocking the Greenlander gene, and I didn't want to do it because I wanted to try the Highlander one. It's important to note that you can have, of course, because I've unlocked it, I can use the clone tower to put them in the game. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create 5 random people, nuggets, all green because they're green, and then we'll let them go on their merry way. After this, though, after these 5 only, it will be for you guys to tell me what you want and how you want it, and I will make your nugget as such. Obviously, there are comments, and at some point we'll get to that. But more importantly, and a much bigger statement to make, is that the 250-year limit cap on the nuggets is, in fact, false. 100% false. It just seems that they do die off more frequently than I would probably expect. Maybe even you would expect. But I do know that I'm currently, obviously, doing these videos ahead, and I know at least one of you has made it to sort of 360 and climbing. I'm not going to say who, so we'll see who lasts the longest. But yes, I don't know how long it's going to go for. I don't see a reason why we can't have a 1,000-year-old nugget on the moon. But we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, the 250-year or day thing that I originally mentioned is not a thing. It just seemed like over that sort of 230 to 250 days of the gameplay, we lost at least half of the Highlanders, which was slightly unfortunate. But pushing 360 and beyond is doable because I've seen it with my own eyes now. So hopefully that helps make the Highlander thing come back to being more interesting. How they're dying and what they're dying of, I don't know. I'm missing it all the time. I've checked the settings. There's no way of finding it out. So you just have to kind of get lucky, I guess. There is a lot of stuff happening. People get infected when it doesn't tell you. People get struck by lightning. It usually does tell you. But yeah, so as it stands, 250 is not the cap. Let's get these 5 green nuggets planting trees where they walk, if that's what they're supposed to do, and get to some actual gameplay. Oh yeah, and for those of you that know who 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿 is, I couldn't resist, so I made my own little 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿 nugget. Still green because he's a Greenlander, but he's got his yellow outfit on because it's 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿. Yeah, so for those of you that know who 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿 is, it should be funny. If you don't know who 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿 is, obviously, my bad. Let's crack on. So, based on the figures at the bottom, you can see our power is now negative 71, which means that the power plants are running low. Obviously, when we get the upgrade for the power plants, we're going to gain a huge amount of access power, I'm guessing, which I'll probably go around and sack a few people. But for now, I want to make sure that that does not run out. I'm not buying any more batteries because it's just a waste of resources. And the good thing about this is as long as you've got enough gas, which you can see our gas is, yes, 3,607. We're fine for gas. So what we're going to do is get another power station down. I will likely turn on the minister as well because I don't imagine that it's going to be too much of a problem from slapping him about. But we can keep an eye on that, and if they do, then I will, of course, turn it off. But we'll see how it goes. We know for the kinetic it was crap. But for the wind turbines, it wasn't so bad, so we'll see. Water is obviously going down as well, or at least it's going up now, because we're just switching from winter to spring, and all other things are switching on again. There's no negatives there. Storage, we're just under, and for food, we're laughing. We've got plenty of food, and plenty of the eateries. That's the word I was trying to think of. So we're good to go across the board there. What we need to look at now is, of course, we have done the cloning tower. Just jump over and have a look at this infected zone, no doubt. But we need chemicals to do that. And as you can see, we've got no chemicals because we've got no chemical plants. So let's get one of them built and chemicals incoming. Just going to leave you alone with a bit of a build montage of the actual power plant for those of you that like the time lapses, because I don't think I've done one for a while with this. So back from that, I hope you enjoyed it. And this is my chemical plant setup. 2 chemical plants going straight in, followed by the standard buildings that go with them. That being the fire station, engineer's hut, and probably a defence tower, because the minister is obsessed with placing those. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's the mechanic of the game, but nothing's attacking us because we're keeping everybody in our pocket by giving them free stuff constantly. Though I am running low on herbs, which is what I normally use for a change, so it might end up going to stone, because that seems to be something that's quite significant. A little tip, by the way, that I've learnt for myself: when you're picking up resources, and it doesn't matter what type of resource, obviously you can put them in storage facilities. What you're seeing here actually is the water towers also allow you to do so, the reservoirs. Now the reservoirs always let you store that resource, so if you go out and get 1,000 wood and 1,000 stone using your powers, you won't be able to put them into any of the other buildings because they haven't got the capacity for it. But if you put them into a water reservoir, it will then put it into your internal storage automatically, and it works nicely. So like where I'm running low on food, you can see, sorry, not food, wood below. I just go around and collect my own, grow a forest and rip it up and chuck it in the water reservoir, and boom, that tops that up. Where it goes to, no idea, but it certainly does put it in the resources for them to use in storage. Okay, so we're into a deep freeze. The deep freeze, though, is not too bad as long as you get people in buildings or bunkers ASAP. Obviously, I already smacked the button to alert everybody. There are people still walking around, whether they're going to bunkers or they just don't care, I couldn't tell you. But in terms of the population count, I'm not seeing that anybody is... You can see 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐿 there is the one that actually reported the weather coming in. So thank you, 𝐂𝐎𝐿, for the warning. And yeah, the death-wise, I'm not seeing too many deaths, so we should be good to go there. Obviously, there are nuggets dying, but they're dying from other reasons, not necessarily anything to do with the cold. The clone tower is so tall. Though if you look at the patch notes when it was introduced, they specifically made it to be the tallest building by far in the game. It's what they wanted to do. So, I mean, they nailed it, right? Because before I read that, I was already saying so. And we're moving ahead with the research. You can see this is the gap that slows you down the most, because you've got the 2, the 5, 15 researches there that you have to do to move over to the next stage. And that's, I believe, to unlock the solar panel or nuclear plant. Looking at this, we actually have 1 exile remaining in our game, and we do have 30 military to use if we wish. Now I am going to do a bit of spam building here and just get everything upgraded. I want to keep on top of that while the resources are good. The only ones that we're lacking are what would that be? Sort of steel, with the looks of it. Steel and cement. Cement has only just been started, so that's fine. Steel needs a bit of an upgrade, and plastic and the fuel has not yet been researched, or at least built. So rinse and repeat, yet another corpse. Well out of the city though, so it's not the end of the world. But let's just take a look now at what we do actually have in terms of nuggets. Just making sure I heal these top few, because if there's any infections in there, that will resolve that, no problem, because it puts them to the top of the list. Checking in there, viewer-wise, we do have 3 still alive. And you can see, as I mentioned at the beginning, 𝐂𝐎𝐿 is the eldest now at 281, with a couple following up in the 270s. The 250 limitation or disease, whatever you want to call it, is not apparently existing, which is fantastic news for me and hopefully you as well. Spoiler alert, I have seen way into the 300s, so I'm not sure if there is a cap. I hope there isn't. We'll see if anybody can make 1,000 years. But let's wait and see. So as you can see, there is a large gap here actually of not an area not covered by the cemetery. Now if I put that there, it will stop that road from being populated, but only the leg, not the main road, so that's fine. And to be honest, at this point now, I've got so many roads set up in the main village, that's all I wanted to do anyway. So the rest of it's just, I need to fit them where they fit and make sure that we actually have the space to do so. Okay, so with our first new green Highlander type, Greenlander, Greenlander. It's obviously taken a while because the infrastructure for getting the chemicals over here is taking ages. Chemical plants are like the other side of the planet, so it's expected. But there is our first green nugget, and the best name for a green nugget is Green. So there you go. Welcome Green to our civilization. And of course, on that note, we can now do the users or the viewers versions of the characters that they wish to have. So as requested in the comments, Jojo has asked for a pink dressed nugget with purple. So I've tried to do that using some of the modern age items because it gives a better contrast on the clothing, and then purple hair as requested. Nice and simple. Hopefully that's what you need. Also, you requested Highlander, so it will be Highlander. So I'll put that in as well. Second name, I made Poke. That was because I knew previously you mentioned about Poke, so I added that in there. But I have seen now a new comment to make that separate, so I'll do that one after the fact. But there goes Jojo being created in the vat, and we'll just wait for the chemicals to be delivered to make that happen. And then straight after, we needed a male for the Poke as mentioned. Male wearing orange and short hair. So I've tried to do that as well. And of course, naming and a Highlander also. Looks a little bit like a convict because of the orange outfit, but never mind. Hopefully that's what you asked for. So they're both in the game now. Just need to wait for the chemicals to be delivered, and then they will be actually present on the planet. See how long they last. So as mentioned earlier, the power again is now negative by 95, so we need yet another power plant. So what I'm going to do is chuck in a minister there to make sure they keep on top of that. If the number goes up out of control, I will deal with it. Obviously up until the point where we have the upgrade for the power plant, which is quite far down the research tree, to be honest. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I do like the idea, though, that as long as you have gas, you have power, which is nice. For the moon, it should be the same. Obviously, moving forward, it will be better for planets, but you need to get that resource over there or make them self-sustained if they do have that resource on the planets themselves. Honestly, at this point, I feel like I'm going to start a trend of hashtag cemeteries, if it wasn't morbid as hell, because that's all I seem to be placing lately. Waiting for somebody to die, and then place a cemetery next to them like an afterthought. I should really be more proactive than reactive, but these nuggets like to walk across the planet, like, all the time to get, I don't know, resources for stuff that we don't actually need. Resource-wise, we're laughing. Wood, we're a bit low, but there's a lot closer trees than where they're travelling to, so I'm not entirely sure why they are going so far. And unfortunately, there's no way of setting like a limit of the nugget can't go X amount of miles or whatever the units are from your town centre. And coming into the clone tower, you can see one is ready, which can only mean that is Jojo's character. So let's release her, and there she goes, very pink and purple as requested with the Highlander trait. I'm going to set the clone made people nuggets. That sentence didn't work, but you know what I mean. Anybody that's made through the cloning system, so it's hopefully exactly what you want, is now a crown. So we know that the diamond is the original 5 that was 4 and now is 0, so there's no diamonds. The hearts are just directly from the comments, and the crowns are from the actual tower of magicness that is the clone tower. Jojo going straight to work there as a labourer doing some deliveries. That's how I like my people to work. Well, I like them to just work, that have no lives, just work. Oh, and breed, because we need more. So back over here at the industrial estate that I started out a while back, I say a while back, at the beginning of the episode, I think, that was for the chemical factories. You can see now, additional to the left of them, buildings being built. That is 2 fuel plants, I believe. It might be 1 fuel plant and 2 steel mills. Either way, we're making steel refineries and fuel refineries and steel mills here. so that them resources can come in. The steel mill, because we've got 28, we're eating through it, and we need more. And the fuel, because we don't actually have any yet, and we need to get that going. The downside to that is that at the minute everybody's got vehicles and they can use them, but without enough fuel they won't be able to. And once you switch into making fuel, the garages start using fuel. So I will lose a lot of the speed bonus for the nuggets up until I can get enough fuel to run 600 to 700. It'll be 700, yes. 700 vehicles. Which I believe is about about 50 to 60 fuel per 10 minutes. So it's not terrible, but it is when you're first starting with the fuel, yeah. And obviously, as I said earlier, the infrastructure for moving things around is quite limited. So I will need to look at getting a lot more of the courier huts in as well. And then I don't know if I'm lucky or I just booked into a bug, but this, you can see that's 3, I think. So 3 of the loot boxes, 3 meteors landing almost in exactly the same place. You do get that from using your spell, but I'm not aware that I've launched 3 in the same place there. Obviously 3 should wipe out an 𝐂𝐓 village if there was one there, but it doesn't look like there was, because I'm sure it leaves a shadow if there is. So we can get them picked up. You can pick up more than one at a time, not a problem. And take them over to the tower as normal and drop them in. Now, it looks like there's 2 there. Don't worry. They stack on top of each other. It doesn't tell you until you actually use one, and then it looks like it hasn't disappeared. But it has. Now, getting to the defense towers. I know I'm going to do it, but I'm not sure if I do it yet or not. But I am going to be getting rid of them very shortly for 2 reasons. One is I don't need them, which is a good reason, but more importantly, 2 is they all create CO2. Also, they waste nuggets actually maintaining them, so building them, maintaining them, stopping them falling down, and then being used within them. You can see there now, 𝐂𝐓 is 300, so happy birthday 𝐂𝐓, you have hit the 300, magic 300 mark, so it is indeed possible. Will 400 be possible? That is the question. JoJo's brand new character made there is 7 years old. Poke's not been made yet due to the fact that, like I said, the chemical distribution is very long because they are on the other side of the planet to the actual cloning tower. Okay, so it's been a few in-game years, days later. Just let it rest and everything catch up, etc., etc. Though obviously still struggling. Making sure to keep up to speed on the research. We are now we've gone past, you can see the 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓, which means that I've actually researched and built some solar panels. And then really just looking over the globe, checking resources, making sure you can see the power income is 500, so that's quite significant. I may have to turn that off because the power plants create 240, so clearly that's an extra power plant more than we need. But we have just unlocked the ability to do the unobtainium, so just going around now the entire planet and making sure I cap off all of those with the ability to have the buildings built, putting next to them a water reservoir for any water needs that they require, but also the hut to stop them from falling down before they finish. And getting another lucky box here by the looks of it. So that's 4 in as well. Obviously between now the 3 and this one, it was quite a while in real time, but obviously from the video perspective, it's quite close. So that's 4 coming in. And now just decorating the city with some hot air balloon buildings. This makes the skyline look quite nice with the hot air balloons and the aeroplanes flying about. It's just quite a nice thing to have. Again, it increases the morale as well. Doesn't do anything for the CO2 or anything, of course, but it does look nice to have these things moving and making your planet look a lot livelier. Now you can see here, Chunder Chain Park. I've not unlocked the Broken Heart quest, so there are 5 parks there I can't build, but I can unlock that at any point, at any time I like, just by using the 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐓𝐇 spell. Basically making somebody cheat on somebody, and that will unlock that spell. I'm going to go and give it a go now, but I actually do pick a couple that's not connected already, so it fails. But I can do it at any point. It doesn't really matter. But we are at time, so I'm going to end it here. So thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please click like. Any comments are welcome, as always. If you want anybody adding to the game, please let me know. Take care. Goodbye.